Whoa, it has been a very long time, about a month or so. It's AK47 over at Deckmar Trades via Tradecaster.com. Josh Smith Official, Prime Trading here on Instagram, and of course YouTube. It is Wednesday, June the 9th, and I know it has been about a month because the stock market's been a little bit stale. There's been some stuff to alert, recap, yes, but let's finally get into a huge mover, finally in the penny stock realm. And yes, you saw their market, really not too much, but we are up, as you can see right here, still 380% on the day. This stock has moved from, 225 area all the way up to 1850 and, from after hours on pre-market on good, solid COVID news. Now, what have we looked at in market? Now, unfortunately, I don't have any of my alerts from early in the day, but we'll get into those, followed by, well, of course, some of my alerts. What I was waiting for the longest time, which was it to finally reclaim, what would be reclaiming the VWAP. So, that's what I was waiting for the longest time, which I'll get into some of those alerts. Here's one of those first alerts. I was alerting this for well over an hour. But here, of course, as usual, join me over on Tradecaster.com where I go live. Right here, though, close to over an hour ago now, because you can see what time we are. We're at 12:40. This is Central Standard Time. So at 12:49 right now. This was at 11:39. So an hour and 10 minutes ago, I said, AMD, watch for push over VWAP. Keep testing that area. And I kept alerting and kept alerting and kept alerting. Now let's just get, we'll get into those alerts here in just a few moments so they don't start getting... literally at 12:03. I don't think we even broke it there. I think it was finally, I went to about 12:15. So early in the day, though, let's get back to early in the day. I didn't get into chat until, luckily that's the thing too. It held a decent amount of its gains, right about half of them, a little bit more so, right? Went up to 18.5. It was up from 250-ish. We'll just call it 250. We're still at 10 plus when we open. We're holding we're holding a lot of our gains, right? We're still up a lot at that point in time, well over 200 probably percent at that time. So I'm not in the chat because I don't realize this until I get in, because I kind of was busy. I've been trying to get other stuff done recently while it has been slower. So I finally get in and I start seeing a downtrend starting to form here. And it keeps testing the VWAP and keeps bouncing up, but not true VWAP bounces. So I'm not liking the bounces. I'm like, man, I just wish this would break out and show me you had the hot fire, right? So finally, I see a downtrend starting to form. So let's get to my drawings right here. And so I'd come over here and do my drawing tools, and I'm going to get my little trend line tool, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get to the top of this line. I'm going to say, man, if we could just break right through the top of these lines, we're golden, right? We're good to go. We're going to go off and squeeze most likely. That's, in my head. Well, at first we don't. I'm like, oh, this is that hesitation game. So in chat, I'm alerting that, and I'm finally getting filled, boom, at the bottom of this, hoping we get the squeeze up. And sure enough, as we do, and I say, watch for 11, squeeze out of this pure downtrend, which a lot of the downtrend we're looking at also in chat, I had two lines drawn. So I had one line drawn right here, as you can see, where the upper shadows were meeting earlier, right above the VWAP. Get to it perfectly right above here. And I said downtrend 1 really has been broken. And so my first small entry was right here around the 1043 or 1044 mark, and I alerted that in chat. And I said if we can break over the downtrend 2 mark area, which essentially all you have to do is pull that up. I know this goes up a little bit further, but essentially I was like right on the 1060 area. As you can see where upper shadows were even forming in this area right here, 1065, 1070. I was like, we can squeeze above that on top of the fact where the resistance is from before the downtrend. I think we'll have a quick pop to 11. If we can pop above 11, we'll have a quick pop to what? We'll see these, and I see in these upper shadows right around, I was seeing these around 1130-ish area, 1130, and then what? Up to about the 1160 area. And I'm like, if we can get through 1130 and then 1160, then we're off to 12. And sure enough, we just keep getting these targets, and it was a little slow and steady. Boom, here's 11 at first. Finally, we squeeze, and I know this first upper shadow didn't really get to that 1130 area, but it was close. Then we just surged immediately through this candle. You can see we opened up, and we went straight to 12. I was trying to type, like, get to my areas, getting to 1160, 1170. No, I could hardly type. This happened earlier, which is funny. Deck going live, he was trying to alert. I think it was actually this play, trying to alert bounce plays, and it just kind of kept coming down at the time. It may have been right around here, like, hey, look for a VWAP. Okay, it's cracking the VWAP. Okay, look for this bounce. Okay, it's cracking that area. It's so hard to do when you're in chat trying to alert and then, play the stock as well, on top of the fact, especially when it's moving fast. But this area right here where it didn't break through 1130, I was like, oh, we almost got it there, so on and so forth. But then when it started breaking, like, here we go, here's your 1130, 1160 next. And then as soon as I'm typing that, 1160 next, and I'm about to say after 1160, as always, or not as always, but as I alerted, because as always, that's what I always say, as alerted, 12 will be next. And then over 12, you're going to get that high of day. We may get a high of day push. Oh, and I got so close to that last perfect alert, but we got all the other alerts. My first alert was over the downtrend, over this 1040 mark, 1045 area, you're going to get up to downtrend 2, 1065, 1070. Over that, you're going to get a push up to 11. A push over 11, we're going to get to 1130. Over 1130, we're going to get to 1160, and then 12. And I know that we hit them right on the dot with those 1130, 1160. but you got your targets, and you did get 12 on the dot. And I said, oh, there was 12 on the dot. Called it right there. Boom, 12 on the dot. Oh, no, hit 1198. Hit 1198. Here's where it hit 12 on the dot, and there's where I said, finally, there's your 12 on the dot. Because see, here's the high. The H means high. So high of that candle. It finally, and then whammy, we got our 12. And somewhere in this area, I was fully out. Fully out from, kind of scaling in and out of this trade in and out. And I traded about, essentially 2 trades when I added in overall. But was scaling out, along the way, just slowly but surely scaling out. And then eventually, when this big candle happened, I was just completely done. I got some out around the $12 area, not over, at 12 or over. I wish. It's all good. I did get my $12 touch like I wanted, and then it started falling over. And then, it held it, and it held the squeeze. And that's what I was saying. It's holding this wedge. Watch for it to still squeeze. It's still in potential. If I want to go ahead and let's get rid of this guy, we could just pull it right over here. I did not mean to do that and try to, let's edit this little guy. We're not going to edit this guy. We're going to turn it around. So we're going to turn it around here, and we kind of have this this uptrend forming right here. Let me get this down a little bit further. Have an uptrend forming here. Of course, it's about to finally crack off, as you can see, with these lower shadows, though, right here around the tips. Somewhere in this area is where I'd have it. You can go down a little further if you want to. You want to do like maybe that right there, but however you want to adjust it, you can tell right when it finally cracked 11. See this little wedge, though? See, it's uptrend. There's maybe a pole. Definitely a wedge. I could have put a line going right down the top of it, like a downtrend line, like what I was seeing earlier. I was like, ooh, this is a nice little wedge. It's uptrending, ascending type triangle type thing. This could surge and finally get that surge and quick pop, and it likes to do that. So be careful, team. Don't try to chase it. Get in now for that surge. And then if not, once it cracks below the line, fall off. But anywhere in here, it's looking like it's going to squeeze. It doesn't, and it finally fades off. So now it's kind of out of my, it's out. Okay, cool. Now it's cracking the VWAP even. So now I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm not going to look at it anymore. I'm going to get to my lunch hours. I'm going to get to doing other stuff, right? I'm going to worry about that. Well, now all of a sudden, as I kept alerting, let's get over to my alerts here. And as you can see, let me get this back to where I can adjust it. And when I was just alerting in chat, and then Deck put it up, which you'll see that alert in a minute, and he got it up right afterward. I love it. Love how we're always on this together. Now, however you want to look at that, you can have a trend line right here, right? So this is trend line number 1. So that's where your first trend line is going to be at, right? And then now Deck, where he had his trend line at, was a little bit different. And you can get it to pull up here, if you can see. And we'll get to this right here. I think Deck is in a 3-minute time frame. So that's going to, right here, and that's why. So you don't have, that's why. It's going to adjust it a little bit. So if you go over into a 3-minute time frame, right, look where this, look at that. Say, like, get me off the drawing tools. That's what was tripping me out there. Look what happens when we extend this to the right. Now we have to just right click on it, so we don't have to adjust it if we really want to. We can just extend to the right. Whammy. Now look at that lined up perfectly, and we can kind of put it down earlier. And traders in chat, they're kind of somewhat shorting this. I'm going long. I want this to continue up. But I alerted, and you're about to see here in a second, it's got double whammy support. Now let's go back to some of my original alerts like I was just showing you. And now even a while back, my first alerts were coming back for this anytime, right? Probably around the 11:15 mark. And I know I did a copy and paste, so you'll see one of my alerts. But I said, can we finally, here at 12:03, let's just kind of go through them. 12:03, I'm like, can we finally reclaim, break and reclaim the VWAP? Reclaiming is, you're breaking through is one thing, but reclaiming is holding above, right? So you break above, reclaim is when you act like right now, like what we've done recently. We finally broke above and we've reclaimed it, right? We're staying above the VWAP. But we need to push soon, or we may be failing again. So back to my alerts. 12:03, can we push? Nope, didn't happen. $11 will be main target now. That's a different play. I was like, what? Hold on. And I was like, well, because we're going to get back there. We are going to get back there, let me tell you, team. But AMD still has good support. It's up 350%. I don't think some traders in chat thinking this is done, it's going to dump over. I think maybe Deck was. And I'm like, no. 250 is where the run started from. That is a long way to go. Even if it holds 7-ish area, we're still probably good for like a mid-candle setup of some sorts for Friday. Mid-candle setup, which is a whole new thing we could talk about on a whole other day. Main thing, which is 12:13, and I re-alerted this in chat, which I thought was so funny. At 12:13, right here when it happens, it's so funny, when the first candle anyway, main thing just needs more volume, which has, and if you look at it, let's go back to it. If you just look overall, see the earlier part of the day, how it slowly has slowly faded to almost nothing, literally nothingness, up until that literally the minute I alert this, need that lunch hour, power hour volume surge. And then someone asked if I was going short, because he was. And I'm like, no, I'm going long. Been yelling for VWAP claim for over an hour. And here we go. Here's one of the first alerts. AM at 26 after. So then about over an hour and a half ago, right about right now. Still top option for myself, waiting for move back above VWAP. All we needed was that volume. And then bammy, there it was. Here we go. Of course, here's me alerting it. And then literally, of course, me is literally saying right after that alert, it came right in, like literally at 12:13. I alert that and press that. Whammy, the first big candle came in, and then here we go. We're holding it since, right? So let's get through this now, and this is what I'm waiting for. Good flag wedge being built. Watch for the squeeze pop above. Just like how long is this bull flag going to wait? And I'm letting people in chat know, waiting for my entry. We are holding the VWAP on reclaim. So that is a good sign for longs, right? I'm loving it, and I'm letting people know what, happens in these bull flags and how long is it going to last. Just like all bull flags, the volume kind of dies off into the flag, right? So on and so forth. AEMD, waiting for another. I'm just waiting for my entry. I'm kind of like that. Like I was literally, I need that Sonic the Hedgehog. If you ever played the game back in the day, if you just, like sometimes back in the day, we didn't have the pause. We didn't have the save button, so we just had to pause the game, or we just sat there, just left it running. So Sonic, the cool thing they put with Sonic, he would like turn to when you did that long enough. Like if you put the controller down, you didn't do anything, so he was just standing there, right? He would then turn toward the, look right at you, right at you through the TV, right? And he'd start tapping his little red foot, like, well, if you had the red foot. Anyway, you get my point though. And he'd sit there and just be looking at you, and you're just like, okay, it was kind of cool. But I'm just, as in you're waiting, like, come on, what are we doing here? And then hit the VWAP here, and I'm in, but it'll probably stay above. So right here, as you can see at 31 after, let's get to 31 after now. That was, look, how long this wedge was lasting, how long? I'm just waiting. I've been waiting for well over an hour. Now right here at 29 after, right? Was it 20? No, was it 30 after? Hit the VWAP here, and I'm in, but it'll probably stay above. I just want to laugh, because at first it was right here, and then finally, look what it does. 30 after when I alert that, look, as you can see where it was, didn't come all the way down to 52 out. It came right around the 10:52, and I'm like, come on. Whammy. I mean, almost right on the dot, was filled right there, and because I literally just saw it come right on down, had my order entry, and I pulled it right above the VWAP, hoping I would get that quick little fill. I think it hit 1 penny above. I may have been right on the dot. I can't remember. And look right on up, and here we go. Alerted. This VWAP entry team, here we go. Out here, and here we go. Here's my, just so you can get my alerts, filled on the dot, filled 2,000 shares. So that 31 after, I'm letting everyone know right here at 31 after when I'm filled, right here, right as it filled, put for a push back up to 1075 area for target one. I mean, as soon as I'm alerting that, look where it hits. Look at the high right there. Let me move this down a little bit. Of course, here's the H, the high. The high on this candle, 1077. Whammy, was out half. Out half right there, taking my 300. It was like right over $300. Boom, I was up, locked in $300 because it was a little over, 30-cent gain from 1,000 shares because I locked in 1,000 my 2,000. Boom, letting everyone know I'm alerting, and then boom, went out at 500 more because it was kind of hesitating right there. I know it was kind of building the flag below the flag for this potential squeeze, but I wanted to go ahead and just limit, just in case something happened, limit my damage. Sure enough, let's see if it holds the VWAP here, and oh my gosh, look what we're getting here, team. We are getting this to surge. Look at this. Here we go. AEMD. I called it. Here we go, though. Back through 1075. We'll get a surge to 11. And anyway, through earlier. So back to my alert, 1034. 1034, I'm alerting this. Look at this, 1034 right here. Before it surges through. Back through 1075, we'll get a surge to 11. Push coming soon to 11 at 1035. I saw it coming. Whammy, right to 11, right on the dot. So there you go. There's for my VWAP entry. There you go. I got my 1040, it was like 1043 entry, 1042 entry, straight up to 11, 2,000 shares scaled out along the way. And that's exactly what I was waiting for. And then here's where I'm saying, AEMD, put a trend line on it, boss. Has that double whammy support. Now, if that cracks, it's going to pull back, but it has that double whammy support. And then there's where I go to alerting that. Now I've got to get back to chat and say, here we go, AEMD, here we go. Called it. I'm just like, love it. I just love it. Been waiting for this to squeeze. All right, let's go. I'm loving this. Let's see, what was the alert? There was one kind of alert in here, and that's it though. You're just kind of seeing those areas from before where I get these, areas like say earlier. The reason I get on the VWAP bounce, it was holding up so high, 10 to 30, or I should say 30 to 40 cent, drop, essentially at least 30 cents from the lows, 1070 is the low, so you come down to 1040, you're going to get at least a decent bounce. And that was my first goal was 1075. Why? Back up into these lower shadows in the bodies of these candles. Look where it immediately bounced straight up to. I'm just going for a quick little scalp right here. I'm not going for that earlier where I was going for that, I wanted this push back through 11 into 11.50 and 12, kind of like what we're getting now. I didn't get it. So I kind of, sold along the way, took my profit. When it's this boom, and when it surged right through, I took the almost the last bit 250 my final 2,000 shares or I should say 200. I had 500 left. 500 left going into this spike, essentially right here. Took 250 of that 500. So when it did immediately collapse, I sold that last 250 and was out. I sold 1,000 right here right off the bat. So ours already halfway done. Another 500. So I'm already out. I'm already out 1,500 of my 2,000 shares right through this area. That's fine with me. I was up $400-500+ on a quick little 2-3 minute trade. Yes. Was it the home run I wanted, the real big surge I was hoping to get? No, but I got a part of the trade and chunk of it and alerted it perfectly going, hey, if I get to 1075, where I got right off the bat, whammy, boom. And then if I get to 11 here, whammy, boom. Now, if I can hold on, some, as we call it, snakeskin Randy in chat, and it's getting this now, then we're golden. All right. So anyway, just kind of want to get into that. And just so if you're ever wanting to know where my alerts are coming from and why I'm alerting my alerts, that's essentially it. I'm just going back to past chart history, even like earlier. Like if you're looking at the first little bit of plays, I'm looking for a down. I see this downtrend being formed right here. You got the tippy tops, as I always call them, the tips, as I like to call it in golf. You play from where the pros play, the very back. If you're playing from the tips, you always want to keep those in mind, right? Because you have those to work with. But then I had these tips to work with, kind of like where, where like the blues or whatever, not the complete tips, but almost to the back, right? And so I had this downtrend to break. So when we broke through that, that was through my first little entry around 1045 for a move back up to what? Through to the tips. Through the tip downtrend, which was around 10, ended up being around 1065, 1070. But also look what was in that area. Kind of where it bounced earlier, this little lower shadow, lower shadow, little resistance when it kind of did fail. A lot of resistance in that area. So I knew if we moved back through that area, right, 1075 really end all be all was the real prime area. I know I'm good to what? The next area, 11. Right here, which you saw some resistance at. And if you can pop above that, like we saw a little bit ago, 1120 really ends up being some pretty strong resistance, which we got, boom right here. And then you just kind of keep looking back what it's done in the past, whether it's what it did this day earlier, or hey, it's spiking to all new highs. It hasn't done this early. It's up to $20-30. So you have to go back to past our history a year ago, 2 years ago, and what it's done. So always do that. My other one we've had recently run, and it was more, I just can't wait to, for this to go to the wayside, but CLOV, and it's a Wall Street, WSB play. It's ran from, yesterday it's had some movement. It ran from 16, all the way up to, what was that, $25, but then right back down to 17, then it made its way back up. Just not into plays like that. There's no news on it. Essentially, it's just being pumped and pushed by Wall Street bets. Just not into that play. Just not into that kind of stuff. I would much rather play credible alerts, credible plays with PR, like AEMD running on COVID news, and then you can look at the madness. I mean, Wall Street bets, there's not a play you're going to see 9 out of 10 of those plays, even Clove, you saw it. It didn't go 400%. This is up 420% in holding. CLOV did not go 420%. Imagine when this at 1850, how much that was up for the day. 700, 800, 900%, I don't know, a lot of percent, way more than any Wall Street bets play ever goes. So that's why I love credible alerts, credible plays with credible PRs, usually a little bit lower floor, penny stock plays. They will go bananas. Yeah, eventually they'll kind of fade their way back down, but during that day, you can trade this so many times and make so much money. So I hope you understand that. But a quick little recap of the day. Don't forget, always go live on Fridays for my man, Sean Tegmar, over on tradecaster.com. Y'all have a good one.